everybody. Welcome to Your Full Crew. We are in Ottawa, Canada at Aerial Evolution Conference. And we've got here Jordan Cicoria. He is the CEO of Arium Analytics. And fun fact, just became the president of Aerial Evolution of Canada, right?
Yeah.
And so, first of all, sponsoring this stream, which we're very thankful for, and running this conference. So tell everybody hi.
Hi, Jordan Cicoria. I'm really excited to be here. It's been a fantastic conference so far. Don was our keynote this morning and had an amazing talk, which was really great and set the tone properly. And we were really excited about it. And it's been buzz and the generation and fun this whole day, and it's going to be going for 2 more. So I'm really excited and happy to be here.
So how many years has this conference been ongoing?
The conference has been going for over 20 years. So
wow.
In fact, in Canada, this has been the foremost conference. We've gone through a few name changes from Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Systems to Unmanned Systems Canada, now Aerial Evolution, but it's been the same ecosystem that entire time through.
And this year is special for a number of reasons, including bigger crowd than last year. I know you had some goals and you've exceeded those, so that's very exciting.
Yeah, not only that, but also more diversity in broader areas. We have more people attending that haven't been to a conference before than we've had in a very long time. So just gaining momentum and traction has been really exciting on that side.
Yeah, and I love when you say diversity. These folks had a Women in Drones luncheon today. We had a beautiful Indigenous prayer to start off the day, and just really amazing the things you're doing. So Jordan, as you're looking at the conference and you've been involved in it before, how has it evolved? Like, what's changed this year that makes it special?
I think it's just more this willingness and openness that in Canada especially, industry is starting to realize that we are that voice, and in addition to it, we also are starting to have those end users going, wait, we need to start to figure out how this is going, where the world's changing in this space,
right.
And that's so important. And so finally, I think the message is getting out, and from that, we need to continue to build it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got energy companies here. We're going to hear from one soon. All different kinds of people, academia, all different, construction.
Military and defense, construction, helicopters are here.
Law enforcement.
Airports.
Yeah.
So we've covered the gambit, and it's really great because this is the time for us to all get together, share our ideas, and really figure out how to move this into the future.
Absolutely. So if people want to learn more about Aerial Evolution of Canada, how can they find out more?
They can find us on LinkedIn. They can also find us on our website, which is www.aerialevolution.ca.
And what about Arium Analytics, your company?
From our company, I mean, obviously we've been in this space since 2017, and we've talked before, but obviously in the airport space and in wildlife management with our RoBird. And you can find us at www.ariumanalytics.com. And if you Google us, you'll find our YouTube page and everything from there as well.
All right, awesome. And by the way, everybody, fun fact, Jordan was on the Dawn of Drones podcast, our legacy show, a couple years ago, talking about the RoBird, really cool ornithopter. So if you missed that, go check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. So great to have you. Thank you so much.
This has been fun.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
Okay.
So we're going to tag him out, and I'm going to grab his mic.
Awesome.
And we're going to get Declan Sweeney up here. So Declan, by the way, Declan was on the Dawn of Autonomy this year in July, and talking about the association and everything you guys are doing. So it's wonderful to have you. How excited are you for this event?
Oh my God, I love this. Every year you get to hang out with friends once again. It's definitely, it's my go-to place.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's your go-to place, and lots of old friends, meeting new ones.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a smaller community, just being the whole Canadian market, but you keep seeing the same people over and over again, and seeing exactly what they're doing new each year, and just really pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of pushing boundaries, you're really focused on not just Canada, but global reach.
Absolutely.
And I know you're really looking to grow your membership.
Yes.
From folks from other countries. Tell them why, what the benefit would be of joining Aerial Evolution Canada as an association.
Well, as an association, we've got some of the most progressive regulations in the world. And so having other companies come to Canada to work with Canadian companies to do testing. All the infrastructure is here. We've got a lot of wide open space. And we've got really tough terrain in some areas. And then we also have weather, cold, and heat as well. So we can suit anything.
Yeah.
So
And lots of infrastructure, right?
Lots of infrastructure.
Lots of pipelines and
absolutely.
long line linear infrastructure inspections needed here.
Critical infrastructure for sure.
Yeah, lots of different use cases. I know the indigenous population, people in remote areas are looking to leverage this technology
Absolutely.
as well. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll ask you the question I asked Jordan. You've been here, what are you most excited about this year in terms of this conference?
This conference for this year, it's really the progression towards beyond visual line of sight operations.
Yes, we're seeing this globally.
We are seeing it globally, and it's really getting an update on that. What are the new opportunities going to be coming with those beyond visual line of sight, low risk, regulations? There's going to be new opportunities in training. There's going to be new opportunities in MRO, bigger drones up to 150 kilograms, and how much more can we do with that? Because right now we're flying up to visual line of sight up to 25 kilograms. So that is a huge leap.
It is.
So what is that going to entail?
Exactly. Super exciting.
Oh yeah.
So, all right, how can people reach you and learn more about what you're doing?
Well, I'm the executive director of the association. I've been in the commercial drone space for over 20 years. So you can reach me at declan@aerialevolution.ca. I'd love to hear from you.
There you go. You know how to reach him now, so
Yes,
go
you
ahead and
do.
do it. I'm going to grab your mic if you don't
Okay.
mind. All right, and we are going to get Erica Carrasco. So Erica is with Field Law. She is an attorney. I'm going to go. You can put it on, or you can hold it. Either way. All right.
Is this okay down here?
It is. Yeah, it's just perfect. Maybe up a little higher. And so Erica is the chairperson of the event this year. Near and dear to my heart. I love that lawyers are out there leading from the front. So say hi and tell everybody a little bit about what you do at Field Law.
Sure. After hearing your story, Dawn, I guess our journey was quite similar, where I was asked to litigate the first case in drones when there were no drone regulations.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that was a fun excursion, and ever since then, that was back in, 2014 or something like that.
Yeah.
And ever since then, we've been working in this space at our emerging tech group, and it's just grown from there, because as you know, drones don't just end at drones. There's always other emerging technology with them. So that's how I got involved with Aerial Evolution, and that's how I ended up being the conference chair 10 years later.
I love that. I love seeing lawyers, like I said, kind of out in front, leading things. So very exciting. And by the way, Erica was part of the Women in Drones luncheon as well. That's a big thing you guys do every year.
Yeah, we have been doing that since I've been involved in this conference, which is we couldn't even recall when. And it's so nice to see how it's grown and how many women are there, and the sharing and the networking and the discussions that occur. It's really quite fabulous.
It really, really is. So tell me, what are you seeing here, hearing, that's kind of new or different from what you've seen in the past?
Well, I'm a little bit biased as the conference chair, but we worked really hard this year to get everyone here. So that was the theme of the conference, drones across all industries for sustainable growth. What that meant was basically touching on everyone, as many people as we could pull in from all of the industries, to say, from drone manufacturers all the way to end users, service providers, across, you have panels here about energy, about DFR, about everything you can imagine, agriculture, environment, construction, transportation, and that's really what is different, or I hope is different this year, is we're grabbing everyone, and we're saying if drones aren't touching you, then you probably haven't realized it, and you should be here.
Well, and it's the whole ecosystem, right? So there's parachute company here, AI companies here, so everybody's kind of gathering to see how do we take this all to the next level, and that's super exciting.
Yeah.
So how do people learn more about Field Law and what you're doing in your practice, and how can they reach you?
You will find me and our emerging tech group on our Field Law website. And so you can email me at ecarrasco@fieldlaw.com or www.fieldlaw.com.
There you go. All
Thank
right.
you so
Well,
much,
thank
Dawn.
you. You're awesome. Appreciate you. All right. Next, we've got Michael Cohens. Now, Michael just kind of did the high five, if you will, with Jordan Sikoria. Michael led this association for the last 5 years, led it through COVID, really increased the diversity programs in terms of the indigenous groups, focusing on women. Appreciate everything you've done over the last 5 years, Michael. So really
Thanks, Dawn.
incredible.
Yeah, it was a good run.
Yeah,
It was a good run.
absolutely. So, what's your legacy as you stand here now? You're at this conference that you helped, build and grow over the last 5 years. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, thanks so much. Good to see you again,
Yeah,
Dawn.
of
Thanks for
course.
coming up to Canada. Legacy, well, look, chair for 5 years. We made it through COVID. That was incredibly hard. We did our
Oh,
first
yeah.
virtual conference.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We did student competitions during that time. But I think the tribute that I think I have is to the great people that I had on my board and who I was able to work with. The federal government in Canada had a challenge to not-for-profits and others to split the board by gender neutrality. So we went 50% women, we went 50% men, we increased the number of board. We had our first student female board member ever in the history.
Oh,
We had
wow.
our
A
first
student. I love that.
we had our
on
first
the board.
female Indigenous
Yeah.
board member, and we were able to change the name. 5 years ago we were Unmanned Systems Canada.
Right.
Makes absolutely no sense to be that anymore in these times, and so we had to get progressive. Aerial evolution makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because who knows the way the technology is going to grow and
Right.
what we're going to be talking about.
Exactly.
So we wanted something broad. And so here we are. When I look around the room, we've got great attendance.
Yes.
We have the right government individuals in the room.
Yes,
We've got
Transport
the-
Canada is here.
You've
We
got-
tried to get them on, by the way.
Yep.
But their comms team is not as friendly to podcasts apparently as the FAA's group. But maybe
Well-
next year we'll coordinate earlier.
Well, if you ask tough questions, you're going to say no comments.
I know.
So
I know.
what's the
Well,
point?
I'm not like, hey, talking to my lapel.
So
right?
what's the point? So we
Yeah,
got we got the right federal people in here. We got the right provincial and regional people in here. Even City of Ottawa. And I'm going to get out of your way and leave it on this. We brought people up from Southern California to talk about drones as first responders
Oh,
and what
Chula
they're doing
Vista.
there.
Yeah.
And Beverly
And
Hills.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah, and that was absolutely
And
fantastic.
Flying Lion. That's a great transition, actually, Michael, because we're going to get Barry Brennan up here next. But before we do, all right, so Michael not only, of course, led this association spectacularly over the last 5 years, he's been building his own company called Key AI. Michael was on the Dawn of Drones podcast, the Legacy Show, a couple years ago, talking about your journey in this space, drones and AI and analytics. And just give us the quick update, and then tell us, how people can reach you.
No one knows how to say it, but it's Key AI.
QII. Yeah.
Dot AI.
Right.
Well, I'll give you the 10-second. We're incredibly proud. After 10 years of working on the platform, working on code, working on algorithms, today we're excited about working with the Navy to identify corrosion on ships
Oh, cool.
through drone imagery.
Yeah.
We're working with super majors to identify corrosion on oil storage tanks and other assets. And so we're emerging as, if you want to understand problems like coating breakdown, staining, and corrosion, you want to do that through computer vision.
Oh, of course, yeah.
AI is making real inroads into that space.
All right, awesome. So, again, how can they find you or reach you?
LinkedIn is great. It's Michael H. Cohen. And our website is qii.ai. Thanks, Dawn.
All right, thank you.
Pleasure seeing you.
All right,
Okay,
as
see ya.
always, as always. All right, Barry Brennan is up next. Michael, I think you have my mic, so swap that out, and we'll get Barry up here. Now, as Barry's walking up, Barry just moderated a spectacular panel about drone as for, well, you moderated it for a second. You were actually on the panel.
I was on the panel.
You did double duty on that one.
I did.
And about drone as first responder and everything that is affiliated with that. Big news, Flying Lion.
Yes.
What are you doing here in Canada?
We just incorporated in Canada, so we are a Canadian corporation.
Oh my gosh, he's got a
so
little
I'll
flag.
give you a little patch.
Oh, I got a new one. Yay.
So
okay.
we've been working in the States for 10 years and had some connections here to Canada, so we decided to make this our kickoff to announce that we are now officially a Canadian corporation and working on helping the DFR open up a hub here as well as some delivery options. That we're looking
You
at.
heard it here first, everybody. Flying Lion has planted the flag, if you will,
You got the scoop.
in
So-
Canada. By the way, Barry was, no, was it you? No, you were on my show, Dawn of Autonomy, last February.
Yep. Yes.
With
And then
Stephen
Nokia.
Katz.
Yes.
And then Nokia.
Yes, we got Nokia, so we were double dipping this year.
You double dipped this year, but man, so much has happened over the year for you guys.
A lot going on. It's been a great year.
Can you share with us a little bit about your training facility? Is that something you can talk about?
Yeah, so we acquired rights to be able to fly over a ghost town in Southern California. It's in the,
What?
It's in the Mojave Desert.
Oh my gosh.
It's a former open pit mine that they had a company town of about 4,000 people, 450 homes, about 50 streets. All the addresses, all the infrastructure is still there, and it's just slowly deteriorating in the heat and wind.
Oh my gosh.
And we've got the ability to now set up a training facility for drone as a first responder, so we can show officers how to respond to calls for service. So we have 20 scenarios set up: missing kids, person with a gun, unknown trouble calls, and so it's a real great way for everybody to get experience in a very safe zone. And we're working on getting our shielded operation, so we won't have to have anybody out with the boxes. So we can really prove that drone in a box in a remote location works perfectly for flying and training.
Oh, that is so exciting.
And we're inviting everybody to come and put their equipment in, and so we can test it and show the FAA that this is the future, and we're able to take those steps moving forward with everybody working together. So our motto is train, test, and collaborate. And our motto is freedom to fly.
All right.
In Latin. So
All right.
I should bring you a T-shirt. That's what I
Yeah,
guess
I want the
Yeah,
T-shirt.
we'll get you
And
that.
like I said, big year for you. The partnership with Nokia. Opening up this training site, and now this ending the year.
That's it. Big year.
Kicking it off in Canada, a big 2026 down the pipe.
Correct. And I don't know what's crazy about me. I go to these northern countries always in the wintertime. I don't know what's wrong with me. I should be moving the other way. I think it's time to open up something in Bahamas.
Barry, I gotta
Or
say,
Hawaii.
the weather here has been balmy compared to Colorado Springs. My husband texted me a picture. They have 12 inches on my deck.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
So,
like.
so the Chula Vista and the Beverly Hills guys are thinking that they brought the nice weather. I'm not going to claim to that. I always seem to bring the bad weather, but I'm glad they brought the good California weather.
Exactly.
So,
All right.
thank you.
So you're here in Canada. You're excited. What are you the most excited about from the aspect of this show?
You know what? It's just the interaction with people and all the different things. Like normally we talk to cops and DFR.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
nice to be is just an entire industry in a different country to talk about what their concerns and needs are. So
Yeah.
it's a phenomenal opportunity to network and just learn about what their challenges are and how we can bring potential solutions across the border. So,
And by the way, when he was moderating the panel, he asked the audience here, how many people here are in law enforcement? Nobody really raised their hand, and I love that because it's really, like you said, we talk so much to each other about each other,
Yep.
and to have people that aren't familiar with DFR learn from you is so critically important. So thank you for
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
opportunity. So appreciate it, and I'm glad. And you did a fantastic keynote speaker. I don't know if anybody else complimented you on that.
Thank
But
you.
fantastic job, and it wasn't the traditional thing of me talking about me, but I really liked your idea of like talking about what you need to do to be successful and what drives you, what your passion is, and love that. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And tell everybody how they can reach you.
My name is Barry Brennan. I'm with Flying Lion. You can look us up at flyinglioninc.com. My email address is bb@flyinglioninc.com. Thank you for your time.
Very good. I'm grabbing your mic before you walk away with it.
Thank you.
I'm going to grab Genevieve. Genevieve is next from Suncor. So here she comes. All right, so she goes by G, just because it's easier. And Suncor Energy. So I met G here, and really Monday night before this thing even kicked off, and we talked quite a bit about the 124 use cases.
148.
148? use cases when it comes to drones and robotics that Suncor is actively employing right now. But before we get to that, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Great, thanks, Don. So my name is Geneviève DeCambra. Everybody calls me G, and I'm the aviation manager for Suncor Energy. So Suncor Energy is a large integrated energy provider in Canada, and we have operations throughout Canada and then down into the States through Colorado and Wyoming. So one of the great parts of my job is that I get to mess around with remotely piloted aircraft systems. And we've built a centralized program for that. So we do actually have one of the largest industrial drone programs in Canada, and we use that to do a lot of work in the mapping, survey, inspection spaces, wildlife, vegetation management, all across our organization and our assets across the country.
So I did tape her panel. I'm going to generate an article, God willing, hopefully that the tape actually worked. You never know. For Autonomy Global, so keep your eyes peeled in the new year for this article about what they're doing. Because people, are not here, right? They might be watching the show and they didn't have a chance to come here. Mm-hmm. Can you give them one example of a really cool use case that you're employing drones in at Suncor?
Sure. So one of the fun things that we've been looking at this year is utilizing a combination of terrestrial robotics and aerial robotics, or drones. And the aerial robotics actually act as a booster for the signal to the terrestrial robotics. And we use those to do pre-maintenance inspections on our autonomous haul truck fleet. So those are some of the biggest haul trucks in the world. And if we can shave even 20 minutes off of the maintenance time by providing very quick data to the maintenance department, that allows them to prioritize and plan, and then they can get that truck back to production as quickly as possible.
Well, I think a theme from your panel in particular was this ROI, right? The return on investment, the time saved, the money saved, the dangers that you're keeping people from having to enter into by using these robots, by using drones. Can you give me just one example of money saved? Mm-hmm. In one of your use cases?
Yep, definitely. So an easy one really is around the need for scaffolding. One of the things that we're passionate about is utilizing technology to reduce exposure hours in an industrial workplace. So when you think about working at heights, when you think about working over water, when you think about working in a confined space, these are the cases that we'll prioritize. And so we do have, for example, very simply, and it could be construction or energy or any industry like that, when you are using your drone to go up and do an inspection of an area like a flare stack at a refinery, that would require some scaffolding or potentially require a shutdown of that asset.
Well, shutdowns too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we do a pre-check with the drone. We run that data to see if we actually need to put up any scaffolding. And so just very quickly, the last time that we did that in a turnaround situation, we saved 3 days on a 14-day turnaround.
Wow.
It took 20 minutes, and we were able to identify that scaffolding wasn't required on 3 different areas where we were going to have to fly people in because we have very remote operations and put up that scaffolding. So there's, $400,000 back in your pocket just like that.
$400,000.
Yeah. And avoiding that exposure.
On one operation.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep.
Yeah. So that math adds up over 148, as you can imagine. And so now you know why Suncor Energy is a huge fan of drones. So I love what you're doing. I think it's super cool. How can people learn more about your team and what you're doing?
So my team is with Suncor.com is where you can go with that. And then we're here at the Aerial Evolution Conference in Ottawa, and myself and a couple of my team members are available at some of the plenary sessions and as well through the conference app. So please reach out.
All right, very cool. Thank you so much. Really
Thanks,
appreciate
Don.
you.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to grab Courtland Pank next. Now, I met Courtland at Commercial UAV Expo. I moderated an energy, I'll call it a panel, but it wasn't. It was like a series of presentations. And Courtland was there with Laurent Zimmerly, who was with Valero Drones.
He is, yes.
I see one of their Valero drones over here, by the way.
That's the one.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So Courtland, tell them who you are, your company, and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Courtland Pank, the founder of Osprey Integrity. We're a drone-based inspection company service provider, and we really do specialize in that non-destructive testing, so the contact sport side of things, using drones to come away with quantitative measurements from industrial assets, whether that's a bridge or that's a storage tank or a furnace or you name it. If it's steel or sometimes otherwise, we're able to take thickness measurements of it.
Well, the fun thing you just said, contact sport,
Yeah.
but one of the things I learned from listening to his talk was this idea of non-destructive testing, which does involve very delicate contact, if you will, of some of these assets, and that's where the Volero drone comes into play.
You bet, yeah. And there's a couple different options out there, but our weapons of choice, so to speak, have been the Volero T out of Zurich and the flyability system out of just down the train tracks there in Lausanne. Those systems have been fantastic, really fit for purpose, really game-changing in industry in their own rights.
Yeah.
So non-destructive testing is I guess a soft contact sport.
A soft context to it, I love it. Well, and my keynote this morning was talking about how to, kind of launch big in a small world, and it is a small world. Cortland was in Colorado, and we got together, and guess who he was working for at the time? Suncor.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of how this industry goes, right? Like you meet people and all of a sudden the connections start to fall into place.
Totally. Very, very small world. Aviation small to begin with, and then when you take a segment of aviation, I think it gets even smaller.
So you've been coming here, you're very involved in Aerial Evolution Association of Canada. So tell me, what's one thing you learned here so far?
Here,
new,
the
something
specific
new.
shoe?
Yeah.
So I think just that the regulators' eye on the convergence of small, uncrewed systems with the heavier stuff, the people movers, and just the inevitability of those worlds coming together at some point in the future.
Right.
It's been very interesting to hear on that front, and we'll hear more tomorrow with TC taking their panel. But I think the future is very interesting with respect to seeing those regulatory frameworks come together at some point and not necessarily looking at them as silos.
No, absolutely. And speaking of which, shameless plug, next week I will be at GUTMA, that's the Global UTM Association's Harmonized Skies event, and that's exactly what they'll be talking about for a couple of days. And so check out our full crew stream from there, which is going to be sponsored by True Weather Solutions and Metis Technologies, a company you may not have heard of, but you will learn about. So, all right, so how can they find you? How can they reach you, Cortland?
Yeah, so I think I'm most reachable if you're abroad, probably through LinkedIn is honestly the best bet. Fairly active on there. I can also be reached through a couple of different emails there. I wear a vice chair strategy hat here with the association and really trying to guide where this thing goes over the next few years. So if we've got ideas, opinions, probably best to hit me on LinkedIn. Cortland Penk is where you can find me there. And as long as you're not just trying to, if you're not an AI bot, I'll respond.
Very good. And by the way, fun fact, article will be coming out in Autonomy Global upon our launch on January 1st about this panel that he did, or the talk that he did with Laurent and this non-destructive testing. So stay tuned for that. So great to have you. Really appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Don.
All right, I'm going to grab that mic.
You bet.
And
Derek
is last.
From
All right.
Insight.
Derek from Flight Insight. So when you think about the ecosystem, what has been the buzzword of the year? The buzzword of the year has been what? AI, right? And this gentleman here, he's working on that. So first of all, introduce yourself, tell everybody hello, and a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, my name is Derek Krivak. I'm the president and CEO of Flight Insight, and we are a centralized drone management system that helps large enterprise clients manage drone ops and their UTM.
Very good, very good. So how are you involved in this event, or why are you here actually, right?
Right, so this event here is Canada's largest drone conference, and the organization has been providing not only regulatory guidance with TC, Transport Canada, but also at the end of the day, most of our major end users come to this conference, and we see a good cross section across Canada. So,
Yeah, very excited. What are you the most excited about?
I have to tell you, I think the application of AI in our industry is taking a massive move.
Yes.
And it seems to be just a perfect fit for drones and data capture, given the size and technology.
Yeah, I mean, we just heard a panel earlier today, right, about so much LiDAR data is being collected, like what do we do with it, right? Like, so the beauty of drones, they're just tools, they're collecting all kinds of data, and then the question is, what do you do with that data?
Yeah.
And that's where I think AI is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, so part of our strategy with the application of AI is that because we're centralized, we get all of the data being directed into our platform. So all of the users have to dump their data sets. And since we have all the data, then you go, what do you do with it? So
Right.
we're working with our clients on applications that are real world and highly executable using artificial intelligence.
I'm excited to see this. I know there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes with you and your company. Hopefully we'll be hearing some big news in 2025.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll be working together, no pressure. But in the meantime, how can people learn a little bit more about Flight Insight?
Yeah, you can go online. We're flightinsight.io. That's our website. Again, the applications that we're seeing coming into drone programs and that enterprise drone use is growing more and more. So
Absolutely.
we got to wrap our hands around it.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt that you will. It's been great meeting you and learning a little bit about your company. And of course, being here in Canada, this is my first visit. It's been amazing. I got a little bit of a walkabout. I saw Parliament. I saw the giant Maman sculpture, that there's only 5 in the world. There are these giant spiders outside of the art museum. Just really, really cool city. Love the vibe. Love the vibe of this show.
Yes.
And the community here is strong. Like, you can just feel that. It's palpable. So great to meet you.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to grab that.
Yes.
And everybody else out there, wanted to thank you for joining in. Great show. If you haven't been to Canada, you might want to consider coming up here next year. And if you're looking to do business, if you're looking to do testing, this is a great place to do it. And, it's the Great White North. So thank you so much. We are out here.